Thank you. Thank you for coming. We had this plan way before other things, but in this type of work, we have to meet people where they are and also be able to rapidly respond when things are happening. So, as we were just informed by Josh, people are at the governor's mansion, which they rightly should be. It's all about standing up and speaking out and speaking truth to power, and that's why we're here as well. This is being recorded for those who are not going to be able to make it tonight. And also, we have people who may be trying to get their popcorn and chitlin sandwiches ready for the debate tonight, which whomever is concerned about that. But we will continue, not keep people long, but it's about the information. First, I'm going to start off. Again, thank everyone for coming. But from what, since this is being recorded, it can be played back for those that are not here. Just a little bit of history on how Wake County Housing Justice Coalition got started. Some of us that are even in this meeting tonight, all were already working in housing justice, rather than activism, advocacy on different levels, whether it was a personal issue or something we saw happening in other areas in our community or in adjacent or even within the state. And we just felt like, we just could not sit back and just let it go. Or we were working in environmental justice or some other type of advocacy, which aligns with the work that we're aligns with housing justice. So we kind of all brought these things together, and as the gentrification started hitting directly. I mean, we could just ride around on a Monday, and by the next Monday, 2 or 3 houses were torn down and something else was going on in our community. And it was just like heartbreaking, and also not knowing where these people were going. So we wanted to talk about it. We needed a place to talk about it, to come together. And we eventually came together with Wake County Housing Justice Coalition. We thank God for Jasmine. She is working with another org right now, saying her last name. We don't need to for somebody to try to hunt her down. But we're thankful that she gave us the start to come together. And from there, we our first main issue as our group was the bond, and from having them to they just gonna put a bond out there and say, hey, we want this much money, but they were not going to put it in, like, decide how much was going to help the homeless. When at that point they said we didn't have a crisis. We did, but they said we didn't. Larry Jarvis was the chair of, well, was the Department of Homeless Housing then. And so we came together and we eventually got them to put the funds in buckets. And from there we grew and grew. And we came together because we didn't have a place and a voice to go. Because in the past, what was happening, if there was an issue, they would go to someone that had a degree or someone that didn't speak for our community, another organization, people who lived in Durham or people who lived in Garner or people who, or maybe they grew up in our community, but now they lived in a multi-million-dollar house somewhere else. And just because they were Black like this and not Black like that, they thought they spoke for us. And so when they started having these meetings, they would bring these community stakeholders together to speak for someone who's homeless or low income, to start making decisions about our community, or even working class folks. And like, hold up, who made this decision for us? Or when did this meeting happen? And we started finding out, they were having these closed door decisions, and deciding what was best for us, as if we did not have a mind of our own, or if we was as if we were still enslaved, and you had to go to a certain person, or if you still had to go to a particular gatekeeper in the community to decide to decide. Can y'all still hear me? Because someone decided to call me knowing we have this meeting at this time. Um, and can y'all
Go
hear
on,
me?
Wanda. Tell it
Oh,
all. Yep, please.
okay, thank you. Now this person, no, we got this meeting at the time out of all the people. Um, and so they're having they decided to go to someone who well, let's go see what they're saying. Go come back and tell us what they're saying. Like, we're Muppets now, so we can't even talk. They need that person to go and hear what we have to say, as if we speak in ebonics, and they can't understand what we're saying, and they speak the Queen's English, and so it has to be broken down. And so after a while, we got tired of that, and so we started not breaking in. We started going into these meetings because, first of all, the law says it's supposed to be a public meeting. Y'all don't supposed to be having any private nothing of a nothing when you're using our tax dollars. Now, when you're using your own money, your own Benjamins, to go to the grocery store or buy your own house with Fannie Mae and Fannie Lou and Freddie Mac and all them, you can go and do that with your people, and we don't need to know nothing about it. Don't even invite us, because I don't have nothing for you. We don't want to know. But when you are doing something with our tax dollars, the law says we're supposed to be there anyway. You don't supposed to have a respect a person. Oh, well, they're homeless, or they don't have a degree in economics, bachelor of a something of a degree, so they won't understand what we're saying. So, or they just got out of prison. That's none of your business, because if HUD didn't tell you that, you don't supposed to be putting any rules and regulations on it. So that is what we are still running into at this point. And I'm here to say, and gonna keep saying, and so these certain people try to make us look rude. Oh, she's raising her voice. She seemed abrasive. Well, don't make me start calling people built back, built body back, built whatever, because that's what happens when you come at us the wrong way, or you start making phone calls behind our back, because they're going to have to call us and ask us. And first thing I'm going to start is with the built back, body back, because why are you calling us, asking us, what are we doing? What are we saying? What this was about ABCFD, instead of them calling us. Because we just got out of a meeting with them, asking them questions, and they treated us like we didn't have any business being there, when in fact, we were here on the property, on the land, born and bred here before they were. And yet you're going to treat us like we don't supposed to be here when we've been here before you. And so this is where we are when it comes to this Raleigh Housing Authority thing. We put up a meme on what it looks like, what we've been treated like. And then it seems like, how rude, how could you? Well, first of all, you wouldn't say that if you knew the history. You're looking at it like you taking it personal, some of the people that are Raleigh Housing Authority now. But if you would have been here 2 years ago, 5 years ago, and just shortly, you would know what we're referring to. Because while we don't trust you, because we know about the missing money, we know about people who have been done wrong. And we got the receipts, and some of the receipts are still living and walking and talking. So don't come at us like we haven't lived through what Raleigh Housing Authority, and that's the other problem, authority. We're treated like they have some type of authority over us. That name needs to be changed if you really want to come at the community like there's some type of respect and like you're really trying to work with the community. You truly have no authority over nobody, no one. I don't know where that name come from, but you don't have authority over us. But that's how you're treated. I've been on phone calls. I've heard there have been people that have met with their caseworkers or whatever and recorded on the down low of their calls, and they are talked to like they are trash. And I'm like, in any other place they would have been fired. You can't even talk to a person like that at Macy's or just a regular retail shop making less money, but they talk to people like they are less than. And then you try to go through the grievance process. Oh, well, you got to write this and go through this and jump through hoops, which is unreal. So this is where we are now. Believe me, I got better things that I could be doing. I'm currently homeless, unhoused now. I need to be out here trying to find somewhere to lay myself safely, instead of trying to find out what Raleigh Housing Authority is still doing that we've been through. Let's start naming the A, B, C, D, F, G places that we've been through. Walnut Terrace, Tavis Heights, Halifax, Hargett. After a while, I start rapping like Pastor Shirley Caesar with the corn, beans, cheese, and all of that. Because we have proof just looking at those places that the people that used to live there all of them did not get to go back. So when people are afraid that they can't go back, maybe back to these places, they have every right to feel like that because they saw a friend or an elder or a cousin or somebody not to get that was not able to go back in there. And so stop treating us like we don't know what we're talking about. We don't get a check. Don't nobody from Wake County Housing Justice Coalition get a check for this work. We're not even a nonprofit. There's no profit here, but from what we get from the spirits and the ancestors. That's the only profit we get from the glory of that.
Miss Wanda?
Yes.
Hey, it's DeQuanta.
Yes.
I have a question.
Well, I'm almost done. And I said I got to get this off when I first started. So give me about 3 minutes, please. Okay. So as I was saying, this is why I need to get it clear with where we are from what has been going on with Raleigh Housing Authority and the feedback and the different things. Right now, before all of this, we have submitted a protest. Now, we have people that have worked for Housing Authority, not Housing Authority, HUD, and people who are very familiar with HUD laws, and we know how to read. And so we submitted a protest regarding the election process. And according to HUD rules and regulations, when you are protesting the elections and the way the elections were done, nothing else supposed to move. Only that protest supposed to be handled. But apparently, our protest is being ignored. We were told it was in the hands of the lawyers. Even if it's in the hands of the lawyers supposed to be able to read what we read and said nothing else supposed to move. But they're moving on with this relocation. So that's where we are today. That's why we said there's an emergency from yesterday's meeting and from the previous meetings. And so we're going to open up the floor for DeQuanta's question, and then from there, from anyone else who may have a question, and then we're going to go on into what we are here to discuss. Yes, DeQuanta.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I think you actually just answered it. I was just getting clarification of the meeting today because of the flyer I received. I didn't know if we was going to discuss that. So you've answered. You said we're going to get into it. So I'll wait.
Okay. So, um, according to what we passed, the flyer that was sent out, we are going to discuss the first thing, as I said, the protest. Why do you want to go to that or something else first regarding the emails and things that we have sent to Raleigh Housing Authority regarding the protest of the election? Or do you want me to discuss it? I'm good with you.
Um, Thanks, Wanda. Actually, I was wondering if Mr. Thomas McKinney can elaborate on the way the protest is being done and what has been amiss. I think he might be more well versed in that front.
Yes, yes.
So, Thomas, if you
Okay,
like.
yeah, I'd be glad to. Good evening, everyone. My name is, as Waz said, is Thomas McKinney. I work for the New York City Housing Authority in community affairs, conducting elections for 31 years. Right? There is a process that's clearly outlined in the Housing HUD regulations, 964 subsection 130, and there are, from 100 to 130 and beyond, that defines the accountability that the housing authorities have when it comes to resident participation. As far as the election process, the Raleigh Housing Authority, as far as what I can see, has circumvented and just didn't respond or adhere to what that process as defined by the 964 regulation. First of all, the notification was flawed. When there is a process, as Wanda was saying, while that process is being adjudicated, there should be no decisions made in terms of people who are in that realm. Like, for instance, they had the inauguration, or whatever they call the installation of the new president, while there was there's a protest in action, and started negotiating and involving the new president. That is illegal. You cannot do that. If you have it, even if it is in the hands of the lawyers, it has to wait until it has been finalized and a final decision has been made. You can't appoint someone and say, well, okay, you're the president, while there's a protest going on. That's not procedure, and it's not allowed by the 964 regulations. There's a host of other things, like the communication, the Section 18 application was not shared with the resident leadership. They have a right, as indicated in the 964, to participate in all issues, especially as they relate to financing and decision making within the housing authorities. That is clearly outlined in the 964 regulations. What it seems to me is that staff members of in the Raleigh Housing Authority are not familiar with the 964 regulations. And they don't adhere to the 964 regulations. So I think that's a major issue in terms of how the resident participation is supposed to be handled. Even if the president or the executive board is not up to par with Heritage Park, that does not supersede the process. We're not talking about specific issues with the structure of the housing, the resident association. We're talking about the process, and the process has not been adhered to.
And I would like to add, I truly do not believe that the developers, I could be wrong, but I just don't feel that the developers, with all the money that's involved in this project on this in building this, that they even know that we sent the letter stating why we are protesting the election based on all the flawed and the in the work letters and falsified documentation and missing accounting missing accounting information why we are protesting. And I just don't believe that they are aware. Now, we were told that, well, you know, they are a separate nonprofit organization. Their board, what's the name of the board, Mr. McKinney? But still, regardless, you still have to follow HUD's process for HUD's process, regardless if they're nonprofit, they call themselves, decided to be nonprofit or what. But
yeah, right. Okay, Wanda. The housing authority has indicated from what I saw that they didn't have anything to do with the election. That's not. It was by the what's the group, the citywide group,
the independent
ICC.
Yeah, ICC.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but
ICC,
also
the ICC is a jurisdiction-wide group, right? The ICC does not have jurisdiction over the individual resident associations. They're supposed to work with the resident associations. The resident associations have the option as to whom they want to conduct their election, right?
Right.
They have the ability to say, well, no, we want housing to do it. We want a third party, independent third party to do it. That is up to the resident association. Housing authority or the ICC cannot make that decision.
Right.
Yeah, and the Quanta has hand up.
Yes.
Mr. McKinney, I think he kind of spoke on what I was going to add. Is the residents on this call? Is there a resident from Heritage Park on the call?
We've
There is,
extended.
but they don't want to acknowledge themselves because of the stuff that's going on. Why?
Oh,
You
well,
can go ahead.
Well, I was just asking because when the election was held, was the previous community leader opposed to the election?
Yes, and letters were written. We have documentation from the previous president, and that first of all, they were not notified, and the way it was done. And the previous president of the ICC, Miss Lottie, she passed without signing any bylaws ever. They never had any bylaws signed, never ever. And 2 days after she passed, the new president came in and signed before she was even buried. But meanwhile, they still spending money and have not, no receipts or anything were ever bought, present to any board or board members during the board meetings or such. And it's a mess. And we questioned that, she questioned that. And so we can move on. So all of this will make sense. There's so much more, but we're not gonna we can't get into the weeds of that right now. But if you look at the form, if you want to bring it up, of the checklist of that they have to submit regarding the section, you have it, the checklist.
Yeah, section 18.
Yeah, the section 18, which we asked, could we as community stakeholders and as residents and see this section 18 before you send it to HUD, which is supposedly due July 1st. Could we see it before you send it? We've been told 3 or 4 different excuses, and that's why I kind of had to say the things I had to say before this meeting started, because what we were told on 3 different occasions were told something different to our community lawyer, which made more sense. But it's like we were just like sort of like pushed to the side, like with that answer. But if you look at this chat list, while you want to put it on the screen, or if it's too big, you can just put
No,
put the
hang
link.
on. Wanda, I need to set up for that. So
Just
give me
put
a
the
little
link.
bit.
Can we put the link
Okay,
in there? Yeah,
sure.
everyone should have a copy of the link, please. And look at the link,
Okay,
and you'll see. I'm not sure which number because I'm not pulling it up as I speak.
let me put it in the chat first.
Mm-hmm. And someone can tell me
Okay.
what number
Okay.
we're on this link, on this chat list, where it talks about they must meet with the residents.
Okay. And I'm about to get to a computer so I can look. And
Yeah.
please forgive me.
So
Please forgive me for being late to you guys' conversation with this.
No,
I
that's
was
no
just
problem.
involved. I was just heavily involved in the engagement and everything with Heritage Park and the Housing Authority. And so I'm just trying to get caught up and materialize everything in my mind so that I
Yeah.
will have clarification as to what's happening.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
we were asking these questions at these meetings. I know you were present at some of them. I'm not sure at which ones exactly, but I
The
mean, we
I was
definitely.
one that was held, first one at Heritage Park. I was at all the rest.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah. So we were asking these questions about section 18. Can we see it preview before you, and we knew it wasn't ready. It's not like we were asking for something that expecting it to be ready. What we were asking for, if we could see it before you send it off. In fact, what I asked for during a board meeting is that we have a city council type meeting, which they could have something where everyone have a voice on what this community looks like, so we don't end up with something later on and a lot of confusion and people being upset, like we with like Chavis Heights and Walnut Terrace, and people like, oh, I didn't know. But so we asked for that, and we were told just a definite no. Which, here's the thing: we are in we work closely with the people from New York Housing Authority. That's the largest housing authority in the United States of America. We work very close with them, and they have been through the gamut of it all, and they have warned us on many things. And then that's where Mr. McKinney has worked, and not only that, we have other people we go to that have been in this work. We
Yeah.
know what we can and can't ask for. We know that this thing can be seen, that it
Yeah.
is possible for us to look at the section 18. And when we're told no, now we're starting to look like, okay, what are you hiding?
Okay, so Ms. Wanda, I have a blank version of Section 18 up. I do want to elaborate on the communication a
Yes,
little
please
further.
do. Please
Okay.
do. Please do.
So basically, here is what's going on. We had an attorney to ask people who are working directly with Housing Authority on the whole deal with the sharing of Section 18 application. And the response that they got this morning was the Section 18 application is not yet complete and is still under review. RHA will make it available when it is complete. But here's the thing. We have asked them, for the past couple of years now. And the most recent time we, the people, not an attorney, asked for
whether or not the Section 18 application can be shared, this was the response from the meeting that took place on May 22nd, 2024? Pretty recent. I have it transcribed though. And the video can be seen here, which I will share in the chat. 1 second.
While you're doing that, can I get clarification? Are you guys saying that you asked for the finishing result of application that will be for the reconstruction or redevelopment of Heritage Park? What is it that you guys were saying you were asking for?
We're asking for Section 18 application to be shared for review before they send it off. And what they asked for, and we, like Wanda said, we understand that it's in progress. We're asking for when it's done, can people Heritage Park, can the public review it and give public comments? And the response we got from the video, from the meeting that was happening a month ago, the person responded, and I quote, "No, Section 18 application is in progress. It is not available for review. That's a HUD-specific document for a HUD to review." So I personally find it odd that you're saying that, oh, that's a HUD document for HUD to review. So does that mean that you don't plan to open it to us? The way they respond to that is slightly different from when they responded to the attorney saying that it's available for review when it is complete. So, and I also understand that Raleigh Housing Authority plans to send out the Section 18 application next week. So you're not done today, and you want to send it off next week. So let's say you have it finished before the July 1st or June 30th. So basically, there is no chance or no time for the residents to review and give comments or input, and that's also.
But that's a violation of HUD.
But that's also
look
the
at
issue
the checklist.
Right.
Look at the checklist.
Right. But that's also the issue with the fact that yes, Raleigh Housing Authority let the people review and give comments on the relocation draft plan. But the Housing Authority also had reviewed the draft plan ourselves. It took us 3 hours to go through, and we came back with a ton of questions. So if we were coming up with questions, how is the resident going to be able to understand it without people be able to walk us through, people to properly inform them? So there's the issue is whether or not the residents are properly informed, and also the issue with transparency. So now I have a copy of the Section 18 application up. Ms. Wanda, what is it you're asking to look for?
I was just saying that, they were saying that they're going to send it off, but we can't see it. But it clearly says that, that the residents, and somewhere on there, I broke my glasses.
Residents and resident group consultation.
Right.
Resident PHA develops demo dispo application in consultation with residents to be displayed or otherwise affected. Provide dates and narrative consultation process. Attach supporting documents. Resident council, if there's a council, provide some naming of the council. Attach copies of all written comments from resident group organization during the consultation. So this application should be in consultation with residents.
So if I can just give some expertise in this area, I know you have a lawyer on the phone, or a representative, so he can probably speak to it too. But before it goes to the resident and it's under RHA's review, it should go to local government so that they can have their input and assist in whatever is going to be done. And then when it's not final, then it comes to the residents.
So you're saying that it should actually also go to the city council for review?
Yeah, it's right above it, right here on your screen. Local government.
Yeah, I see that.
So yeah, we know that.
Then the residents will be the last step before HUD after they're engaged.
But even then, that means that they should not be, if they're not done with the application, so timing doesn't sound right.
There may just have been a learning curve when that person answered no. And because of your diligence and question asking, it required research. And so now they know that that's a requirement. So the response to the lawyer was different because they had to be educated on what it was. I'm not saying that's the case, but it sounds like somebody was corrected once you asked questions.
Well, this is what I do know, that they have met with um, a local jurisdiction, and it says elected official. Um, and they have had meetings regarding, these issues, whatever it is they want to talk about in their meetings, and for sign off, because we also, what was the other thing we not the section 18, the
relocation draft plan.
relocation draft, asked for the same thing. So believe me, if they talked about that somewhere or another, I'm sure this came up.
There's a required time period that each entity has the ability to review. And then once it goes through that required time period, then it comes out for the residents to accept, decline, or amend, or make suggestions, and then it'll come back to the residents once that is done, if it follows what local government consultation is saying, as well as what the guidelines will approve.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what they should have said, instead of telling somebody they couldn't look at it. Okay.
I get it, Miss. I agree. No should be the answer.
Yeah, no is always their answer. And for someone who needs accessible units, that's up there and described as well. And that is something that's a huge issue when it comes to Raleigh, not a lack of accessible units. So this is not, like I said, this is not just the other thing. Like we said, we have other things, personal things, professional things, people, trying to get their doctorate degrees and all other things that we could be working on. But we know when we're being given a runaround, and then when the lawyer asks, you're going to come correct with a better answer, that just made it for sure that, okay, you're not telling us the truth, and we can go pull up other states or other locations and see where we can pull up their section 18 application, look at the date on it, and see where it's public notice and where it was made public before it was even okayed. So the next thing, other than the section 18, the other part of the what we found out today was, our question was, why aren't they accepting the funding that Biden is so generously giving to public housing, for more public housing? Because that is something you don't rarely hear often, and I'm sure you can attest to that too, the quantum, where they'll say housing but not public housing. And so Biden said that he's given, the specific amount for public housing. And we were told that they're not going to use public housing on this particular build. And we were told today, after being told various reasons why not, today the lawyer was told something more clear. So why, if you would like to read that, please.
Actually, I wanted to start. I was wondering if it would be more appropriate if I start off by reading the letter that was sent that pertains to the funding.
Sure.
Yeah. I am pulling it up as I speak. This is a Raleigh Housing Authority letter that was being sent off, and I just saw that Dr. Terrence Roos has to hop off. He just private we'll check back in with y'all to get information on this. So we have it recorded, so you can take a look at it afterwards. I'm still pulling it up, but the funding issue was that I believe that's a justification. Okay, I found it. Found it. Okay. Let's see. All right. So this was a letter from Raleigh Housing Authority that was sent on June 6, 2024. It says a sentence here about the cost to rehab the property far exceeds the public housing funds received to operate. That was the line that was being said.
To us.
Mm-hmm. Well, not to us. It was to the.
Well, yeah, the residents. To the residents, yes.
But then here is what we have. Here's what we have sent them. Because I'll show the email that we sent. Share screen. Chrome tab. Okay, I was going to get to that. So we looked at this is the annual plan draft. Yeah. So, I think no, this is not the one. Hang on 1 second. We sent a number of public comments. Mm-hmm. This was the one that was sent over 2023. Okay. Submission. Here we go. All right. Chrome tab again. Share this. So it said we have reviewed the relocation draft plan. And given this still must be understood with the relocation plan for the Section 18 application, it would be best practice to have public hearing before the Raleigh City Council for the people to speak about any concerns. So I think us reading about the Section 18 application kind of make the point that that should also go to the local jurisdiction for review as well. So that got answered. And we have standing. Okay. I think the best way to do this is to share with folks some of the concerns that we have expressed to Raleigh Housing Authority that we would like for them to clear up or address before going forward any further with this whole plan of disposition and relocation of residents. One, given the call for comments with relocation plan took place on Monday, May 20th, giving people until May 31st to submit a comment is less than 2 weeks and includes the holiday weekend. So we were asking for an extended deadline for people to submit comments regarding the relocation plan. I would also at this point like to add that there should be an opportunity to walk people through what's the fine print, instead of just dropping off a stack of 20-page document for people to go through themselves. And we also mentioned that they were stated on the relocation plan that Section 18 application is not subject to Uniform Relocation Assistance and Acquisition Act. We would like to understand why that is the case, and why are residents who are in good standing and in compliance with the lease in all ways required to reapply for new units if it is mandatory for them to be relocated. Number 4, other than being relative to the annual review, why is income being recalculated during the mandatory relocation process? As a result of the relocation process, will the residents be signing a new lease with RSA on non-housing authority management property? Are they practiced under HUD guideline, or are they practiced put together by a Raleigh Housing Authority? And stated that Heritage Park will be rebuilt without hear this. It says the Heritage Park will be rebuilt without using federal funding. Biden has recently announced that the admin will provide millions toward public housing. Why would Raleigh Housing Authority deny funding from federal government? And here is another big issue that I'd like to bring up. The report talked about household splitting during relocation that will happen case-by-case basis for 4 to 5 bedroom households, demonstrating good cause for doing so. So we would like to know, how is Raleigh Housing Authority going to accommodate families who have members with disability or in need of more care, like child or elderly? People with larger family would have wanted more 4 to 5 bedroom unit like that to return. So will there be more same or more unit of 4 to 5 bedrooms available after redevelopment? And this is consistent with survey questions they've asked. We're concerned that the splitting household will have permanent impact on affected families. And then also in the relocation plan, it stated that the head of the household has the right to return, then a second household. So just wondering, if can family rejoin after being split during relocation, and how is that going to be done? And then lastly, we talk about asking for them to specify the type of voucher people will be getting, because of different types of vouchers that are available for different users, like vouchers of people age 55 and older, etc. Which one I think you have a bit more expertise on how vouchers programs should look based on grant funding. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, yes. But I mean, even before we get to that, we discuss almost every time we have a meeting that's so offensive to us, from, what you're going through with your family, and my elders and ancestors have gone through of dividing our families. Even, I mean, that's even a bit topic going to be, doing this at 8 o'clock and doing this presidential election, of dividing families, when they're trying to cross, whether it's legally or not legal. Dividing families is something that this power structure loves to do, and it's been historically oppressing us. It is never a good thing to divide a family. So people that are staying in 4 bedroom and 5 bedrooms, which already exists before you decided to sign on a red, a dotted line, a blank line. You knew they were already there, but you said, I'm gonna take on this, and I'm gonna put my money down, put my money where my mouth is. You knew these people were there, and you said, okay, but I'm not going to put back a 4 or 5 bedroom unit for these people. So they're going to have to be divided. You're doing the same thing that the plantation owners did to your people generations and generations and generations before. So how are you any different?
Miss
You
Wanda,
can't divide a family.
Miss Wanda.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Actually, the documentation and the planning and the designs was to bring back the number of bedrooms. The division came from multiple adult households in one. So the goal is to not create a situation where there's doubled up housing, when both adults who are not under the same household is in the same household. So if there's an adult who's capable of having independent living, then instead of putting them with their adult child to be codependent, then creating a living environment for them to both have independent living. That's the reason for division, not because they are not able to bring them back.
The quanta.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, please don't interrupt me again. And two, we know at least one family. I don't know if the other one's still over there. They don't need to be divided up. I don't know what people are telling you, but when you know what you know, and you know the people in the relationships, they don't need to be divided up. And regardless, if 4 and 5 bedrooms been working for these people, some new formula or some new whatever, what independent living or something, these people could have moved on out and went and got their own something by now. They didn't need Raleigh. They didn't need this thing to take place. They could have gone and got their own 2 or 3 bedroom by now. But we know particular of a family that does not need to be divided up. And everybody's not going to tell those people over there all their business and how they operate and what's going on. But if it's a 4 and 5 bedroom that's over there, which is hard to find, very hard to find. That's what needs to stay. Period. That's what they signed. That's what they signed up for, and that's what they need to keep. You don't need to start telling somebody, well, this is what's better for you. If that's what's better for you, then they can go move in it. But that's what's over there right now. And who's complaining about the 4 and 5 bedrooms over there?
Are you asking me a question? Can I speak now?
I think we need to talk off record. But as far as I'm here for the people and the situation that they found when they came over there knocking on the doors or came over there saying they're here to help the people. That's who I'm there for. Not what they want to create. I'm here for what they found, 4 and 5 bedrooms. And they don't need to break them up based on what logic is good for them.
Okay, I understand. But what I'm saying is in the designing of the meetings that I sat in with the residents, with the development team, the request was made to bring them back. And that is the intent, to still bring them back. If
that ain't what they told us.
If there was 4 or 5 bedrooms over there, there will be 4 to 5 bedrooms that will be brought back. I'm not sure as far as conversations to you all, but I know the meetings that I sit in and with the residents, with the developers, with the director of RHA, with other community members. The documentation we did when we drew up and we worked with the residents to be able to make their demand, what was told in that meeting and what was provided at that time.
Why do you have the survey about where they're talking about dividing them up? And also, we have some other documentation somewhere, which we're not going to be pulling up all that, but I know what they were talking about, dividing the people up. I even posted it on social media. We did about dividing the families up. Now, if they're not going to do that, then they shouldn't have put it on the survey to freak the people out.
Right. But what I was explaining is, I understand you're saying there may be some unique situations where 2 adults who are codependent, I would say, or 2 adults in one household may need to stay together for whatever that reason is. I understand there are unique situations with that. But what I'm saying is, if there's 2 adults that have independent housing under one house, they are one of them is still will be considered a form of displaced. So that's why the 2 applications will be done, and the qualification will be for both of those 2, so that there will be independent living for both and not having to cohabitate in one apartment.
But what if they want to?
They told us during the board meeting and other times that they're not bringing 4 and 5 bedrooms back. Whatever living and dividing up livings and all of that, that's their business, who they want in their household. I'm not getting in other people's business, what they consider a family and not a family. That's their business. That's wrong with Raleigh Housing Authority and other issues they got going on right now. That's who they consider codependent. If I want 2 people, let me stop. But anyway, they need to bring back the 4 and 5 bedrooms, and if that's what they're doing, good. But if they're not, it's a problem.
Yeah, and you asked me to pull up the survey that they have, and they basically said, I currently live in a 4 to 5 bedroom unit and am interested in dividing into multiple homes during relocation. So that's the question that was being posed.
And then we also have a piece where they're saying, during the board meeting, they told us they're not bringing 4 and 5 bedrooms back. We have that recorded somewhere.
I don't know if I have that recording. Are you talking about when there was the new or the old Raleigh Housing Authority?
No, not the old executive director, the new one. But no, it's recorded. I don't think you were there that last one, a time before that. But no, we have it where they said they're not gonna bring the 4 and 5 bedrooms back. And isn't Katie on here? She can
Yeah.
just type in a yes or no. They're not bringing them back. And if she doesn't know, that's fine. Look, let me say this. We have no problem. We are humble enough. We don't have to be right about none of this. We win nothing. This is about the people. If they are bringing the 4 and 5 bedrooms back, hallelujah, I was wrong. Thank you, Jesus. I don't have no problem. My humility is, look, it's not about me. If they're bringing them back, great. If they're not, then there is a problem. Next, what else is on here? On our, go ahead, Wall.
Yeah, I mean the other one, and this, I want to delve also into a bit about the funding situation. So remember earlier the letter stated that there was a letter that was stating that, to the residents that the cost to rehab the property far exceeds the public housing funds received to operate.
Yes.
This is really, I think, the only not the only, but one of the 3 or 4 major issues that the housing coalition has found with the way the process is being done. And I would like to take this opportunity to lift a comment from someone from the general public who has also read the letter, and I don't know, is she on there? She might not be, but that's okay. Oh, Kate from Black Workers for Justice. She's on there, but she's driving right now, so that's why she can't. That's why she's up there. Yeah. Kate from Black Workers for Justice. She says to me, after reading this latest letter, I'm wondering the same thing. Also, if you've been late on payment, does this mean that you're not going to receive any Raleigh Housing Authority assistance? That's a question to consider. Also, on the first page, the first line of the last paragraph, which is what I just said about, is that as far as she's concerned, that should not be the residents' concern. So why are we forced to deal with the mistakes that the City of Raleigh Housing Authority has made with how they manage their fundings when they said that their cost to repair and rehab far exceeds what the federal provides?
Right. But isn't there a part in the letter about who's going to own the property and such? The letter we got today, the email.
Right. You're talking about the question as to the transfer of the property to another entity.
Yeah, that made shed some light.
Okay. Yeah, so the clarification we got is that as far as management ownership of the asset, Raleigh Housing Authority will own through a related entity the current site as well as redevelop Heritage Park. If we are successful in acquiring additional acreage on the east side of the site, we will own that as well. Raleigh Housing Authority will continue to manage the current Heritage Park. The redeveloped site will be a mixed income, mixed use community.
Owned by. It doesn't say who else is going to be owned by.
You mean the redeveloped site? No, they say that Raleigh Housing Authority will manage the current Heritage Park and will also own the additional land that they acquire for the redevelop as well. Now, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. So basically, this is saying that Raleigh Housing Authority will own both the current site and the new site. Is that correct?
Okay. But yet money is an issue. And those other units that will be coming through, as they told us on the phone, will be at 80%, 60%, 70%, and other percent. So it won't be just public housing anymore. It's going to be gentrified.
No,
public housing.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. No, it's not, they're not gentrifying it. It's just making way for upward mobility, which means if you are in a situation and you've gotten you a better job or you've gotten higher education that allows you to get more pay, then you're not just put out because you're no longer considered economically challenged. You still have the ability to make more money and still be able to stay in that community. So anything 80 and below is considered affordable housing. So that it is not to gentrify it like
80 and below consider affordable housing where?
according to federal law, HUD,
How
80%
how
is
much?
affordable housing. And that depends on your household size. And if I use me as an example, me and my son, along with my income, I make above 80% AMI. But me, my son, my granddaughters, I am actually below 60% AMI. So it depends on your household size and the number of people that is counting on your income.
We need a number. How much?
So
Yeah.
correct. How
What do you
much
mean you need a
is
number?
how much is 80% AMI in City
It
of
would depend on your income.
Okay.
If you are an individual and you are making, say let me see, let me come up with a number. An individual with a single person, no kids, and you are making, I
I got
think,
it.
45 to 50, you're 80%. But if you're an individual with a kid making 45 to 50, you would be about 50. You got it. Thank you all. So this is the income. So they are not gentrifying. They're actually giving the ability for upward mobility, meaning for people to get higher education, get better paid jobs, and still live within their community.
And also there are already properties where you can go live at that pay rate when we have a homeless crisis. And public housing is supposed to be about helping people who are in need and economic mobility. You don't know if you're going to make more money 5 years from now, 10 years from now, or whatever years from now. Meanwhile, there are people who need housing right now,
Mm-hmm.
who are dying on these streets right now. We're talking about the right now, not about your maybe future, what you might want to do or where you're going to go, because there are other housing already out here, and will be in the future. They can go build that in the future.
Well,
But are you looking at someone, so at 80% for someone of a family, you do the 80%
one person
family two.
making $68,000 would be 80%. That's one person.
$68,000. And
560 is 80% AMI, and that
yeah,
is don't even have a child. So that's
yes.
still being able to make money and be able to live in a community. But that same person that may have a child, 80% with 4 kids, you got to make $97,000 to be at 80%.
So they're
And
worrying about it for you, economic mobility. But meanwhile, while you still making your, going from public housing to get there, going to
mhm.
school and stuff, Karen can come on in with her 68,000 or her 97,000 and go ahead and be living there and getting it ready for you, breaking it in while you going to school, getting yourself and moving out of the you
No, no,
know
no. It is really, and I'm on this call tonight, honestly, so I could just bring clarification because I was in every last one of those meetings. I asked the questions. I was with the community. We advocated. I saw Aisha on this call. She was there for the most part. The residents asked for resources to get to that point. They asked for resource centers. They asked for operating gyms. They asked for a community room with computers. They asked for business hubs Like, these are all things that was designed and planned by the residents.
Let me say this, like, I'm gonna interrupt you right here. Before these people came right here, we were already on Heritage Park property, and we already had meetings with the residents, and we got proof we had already came up with these things to ask for with the old executive director. So
Miss
many of these things that
that
they're
is
asking for are not new.
I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying that the residents at the people who are rebuilding Heritage Park for certain things so that they can get some. There was some that asked, how do they get to become a homeowner in that area and not be a renter? There was some that said, I don't want to own a home. I want to live in Heritage Park. I don't want that responsibility. But if I get a good job, how do I stay? Like, these were community conversations from current residents. So they took everything that was asked in consideration to design a community that was asked from the people that was living there.
You
I
can
was
get
in
a
the
good
room.
job
I
and
was
still
there.
get a Section 8 voucher and still be on a voucher. You can still have a voucher and still have a good job.
You're right. I'm not disputing any of that. I'm just saying that the things that you're reading out, it is in place because the residents that was in those meetings, that from the designing to the what the building should look like, where you want to park, what kind of trees, how many trees you want, what kind of parking spaces, those residents that sat in that room every day when they started doing the design, 3 days, it was on the Heritage Park property. And each time it was during the day on the property, and at night they showed the blueprints. There was some adjustments made and there wasn't. But I'm just saying, like, the things that they're projecting to you all or that you're reading, residents who are currently living there that showed up asked for these things. I was there. I heard.
Tell you something. Nobody asked for gentrification, and y'all can sugarcoat it, and you can sugarcoat it with them if you want to. I know, and anybody else that's on this call, whether they want to speak up or not, this is gentrification for people who are currently living in public housing and living in Heritage Park right now. Because those who are living in it and they move back in it at the price point they're in and you talking about economic mobility, that's where they are going to go. For where they are right now, they're not there now. And what I'm saying, this city that we're in a homeless crisis. We're not in a housing crisis for somebody making 77,000. There are many properties out here for people making 77,000.
If I can make a comment to that, we are in a homeless crisis, but the people who are currently living in Heritage Park is not homeless. So if this is who we're redesigning it for, then this is who the conversation should be about. Homeless.
Then we shouldn't have these extra. Then they shouldn't be building the extra. Then if this is for Heritage Park, then Heritage Park is not asking y'all to bring Karen from over on the other side to be over here as Patrick Buffkin said during his comments that he feels that more when Black mothers and other parents whatever see other people from other races and economic backgrounds, they'll make them better parents, because that's what this lends to right here. That's what this is. And I'm not going to argue with you. Now, what you can do is have your own Zoom and lie and play with them people's minds all you want to. This right here does not help people who need housing, and you might be economically better to go to Walnut Terrace or Chavis Heights later on, but right now they're not. And I know those people are not telling you, well, please build me something, Massa, for me to have something to move to, for me to be better at 10 years from now or 5 years now, for me to be economically better.
Thank you for the invite for tonight's meeting.
I don't know who sent it to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good night.
See, That is what I'm talking about, and that's why we do what we do, and nobody pays us, and nobody is going to come in and change. Y'all,
Yeah.
this is some bamboozle something, and that is why we are speaking out. Look at that list, and you telling me somebody making $13,000 is telling you, please build me something for me to have some economic mobility, for me to want to live out at Heritage Park, making 77,000. That is
My
not.
question is,
That's a lie.
I mean, the other question is, what is the job market even looking like? That what's the guarantee that we can go from being paid $20K a year to now I'm getting paid $70K? I would tell you that, like, I'm a grad student at NC State. I don't see myself jumping right into a pay raise like that. Job market is kind of scary right now. And I also, Mary, go ahead.
Hey, yeah. One of my concerns is that, you know, like the Grosvenor apartments, I never pronounced them correctly.
Grosvenor Garden, the one that Casa bought.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Those numbers didn't work on the back of an envelope in my husband's head when I said them casually after reading that they were raising their rents a second time. That the city of Raleigh and the Wake County commissioners put money towards. So I don't have any doubt in my mind that we need to check and recheck everything that this city and the county does that involves money and the unhoused in helping, because they're just throwing this money out. They're wasting opportunities. And all of the things that we've been saying now that we have a pilot program coming in, that's suddenly getting lots of traction in the news everywhere. But my concern is that the immediate needs right now is being frivolously wasted by them playing like, oh no, you can't see it. No, we can see it. We deserve to see it. If that's part of the process, then, and I thought that's what this meeting was to kind of like cover. So I'm going to shut up now because I got to actually cook.
No, you don't have to shut up. This meeting was called for an emergency because they're telling us we don't supposed to even we were denied the opportunity. But truth be told, just to break it all the way down, is that they don't even supposed to be going this far with this whole process with a protest in place. Now that's HUD, that's HUD law.
Right. It's like, why are they continuing to proceed as if the protest or appeal for the resident council election at Heritage Park didn't take place, when we have sent an email and they say that, and apparently that's in the hands of the lawyer. Like, that needs to be sorted out. And
so
Mr. McKinney has commented before in another meeting with us that there should be sessions that the Raleigh Housing Authority will walk people through what the election is about, the process, how it's done, and we have consulted with Aisha, who is currently in this call, and basically there doesn't seem to be any of those training to help people understand like how the election process is being done. So why are you pushing this through?
And I know in that meeting, y'all went to those meetings. I know nowhere or another that they said, hey, we're building these apartments for somebody to make 88,000, 90,000, so y'all can stay here for the rest of y'all lives.
Yeah.
And if people making that amount of money comes into the community, doesn't it raise the AMI?
Come on, and
right, the AMI change. The AMI can change when you have those empty luxury units and you bring people in that that can currently afford these units, you drive up the AMI, you drive up the area
Exactly.
median income.
Right. They think we that dumb.
Which
Right.
makes it difficult for the people who are generic to that environment to stay there because they're raising the tax base.
Right.
Yeah. And this is why I have an issue with the mention of, oh, it's going to be affordable to 80% AMI. 80% AMI, when you say that to people, people don't actually have a concept of what that looks like. When I asked
Right.
the question of like, what's 80% AMI? And there was like, what do you mean? It's like, you say it depends on the family. Okay, what's a family of four? A family of four, let me just bring this back up again.
Shame. Eric Braun is on here.
Yeah, a family of four for 80% AMI is a family who can make $97,000. Wonder how, Mary, or anyone who had, you have larger family. I'm just one person right now.
I've had a larger
how
family.
How much does any family, how many people that makes that much money? Because I don't.
And let me say this, the ones that I do know, they don't want to stay at Heritage Park or no other park. They out there on their own with their own.
Yeah.
Okay? Because it makes more sense. Because how much is going to be your rent?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
Because
put
they're
the
going to be
numbers out,
80%. It's going to be 80% of your income.
if you put the numbers out there, people would be outraged.
Right.
Because what we try to get 30% AMI and 60 as the limit for the housing bond. And we tried to keep, everything else out. And they just were like ridiculous, throwing stuff at us with like, AMI. And we're talking like, no, we're talking $25,000 a year. We're talking $30,000 a year for a family of three. That's, anybody who makes more than that can afford to live other places. They do have options.
Right.
I do not even make 30% AMI right now for a family of one. I don't make that money right now.
They have options to go somewhere else. So why are you building? That's like middle missing. Nothing's missing in the middle. What's missing is below and below that.
Yeah.
So you are playing games on people who do not understand the numbers and it's ridiculous.
When what's his name? Larry Jarvis pushed back on my claim that no, you can have a whole building with Section 8 folks in there because they get paid the full amount with, and he was just like denying that. And I just like couldn't believe it. I was like, maybe you just don't understand how Section 8 housing works. They get the full amount. I know, there's, people who finagle the system illegally or whatever. And of course, look, I'm just not going to say it, that allegedly Larry Jarvis was not one of our better city employees for department.
Well, he's the reason why we're in this homeless crisis.
I
because I have his the guy that was right under him, his whatever the title was, saying that City of Raleigh will not build any low-income housing, period. That was Raleigh Housing Authority's job. And I have that recorded at a meeting, that community meeting we went to over in not 5 Points, but over in the area. Anyway, it's recorded. Sage and many others were there, and it's recorded. Nancy's daughters were there, Nicole, and he said,
this fits into what's his name is plea. Please just don't build slums. There's no heroes in slums. And it's like, oh, okay, so we'll build it exactly. But so we'll build it so that 80 people making 97,000, a 4-person family making 97,000 will want to live there. It's all nonsense that everybody's feeding into. And I'm glad that DeQuanta spoke to and attended meetings with the residents. We know that the residents have been asking for this. Just the fact that she doesn't seem to share the concern that they're going to get screwed is because she doesn't know the history.
Well, she might know the history. She's been a while, long enough a while, but when she gets paid, this is her job. She's paid by Wake County as a housing or something. So for her to get up
No.
here and be on our side, that's her paycheck. So
Oh, I
duh.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know that.
yeah,
Uh,
that's her job. So she's not gonna get up here. She's not here for justice on our side. Plus, she's running for District C this time when she just got
Gotcha.
through running for
I
um
know. Don't even
yeah.
remind me of that.
Next
And then
week
before
she'll be
that, it
running
was
for
Meg.
president.
Exactly.
So and
Exactly.
I don't know who invited her. I didn't send her no thingy.
I mean, it is
So
on social media, so
but no, she
But
said made it sound like somebody sent her personal something to
yeah,
come.
that was just a dig to you. Like, yeah, thanks for
Well,
inviting
she can
me.
keep on digging. I know how to count,
Let her dig. All
and
right.
we have
I gotta go.
receipts.
yeah.
I'm
Y'all,
getting
me
ready to
too. I
go
would like to
to
stand up, but we
whoever's
need
on
to make sure
here.
that
We're gonna
the
keep
load
on
stays
keeping
in the loop.
on because that's a lie that we were just told about some 80%, and the people sitting in there want to live amongst more gentrification. That's a lie. We see what's happening now. And let me tell y'all, I tried to tell y'all before about all this stuff that's being exposed. More stuff is to come. Y'all keep lying to people. Keep lying to people. You see what's happening with the Shaw and the St. Aug stuff.
Yep.
Okay, keep on lying to people. All this, and we're gonna start asking for audits. And if I got to drive with this little one knee, good knee, to DC or whatever and hold a sign, I am not stopping here because I know when we're being bamboozled, this is a lie. And the fact that DeQuanda gonna come up here and spit some mess, whoever sent her, y'all sent the wrong representative.
Yeah, I do want to take this chance because it's approaching 8:30. So, I just want to mention. I just want to leave a couple messages. One is the response from Katie Labrado saying that per RHA Real Estate Development Team, we are building 4-bedroom unit at the new Heritage Park, and we will also have a few 5-bedroom units to accommodate our multi-generational families.
Thank you, Katie. I appreciate that.
We'd like to know how many, if it's going to be the same number of units for four and 5 bedroom as before, though.
I think it's 8 now. So,
Okay.
but thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Please tell them we said thank you.
Yep.
We apologize, Eric. Please tell them in the board meeting we said thank you, and we apologize for any misunderstanding and confusion because we're not here for that. We said thank you, and from now on, we will definitely report it back outright that you all are going to build them.
Okay. And then the other message to lift is from Key from Black Workers for Justice. She said upward economic mobility is not guaranteed. I think that was in reference to the whole building higher income housing for future economic mobility. The truth of the fact
Yeah,
is,
I don't get that.
yeah,
What does that have to do with public housing? What does that have to do with affordable housing? I'm confused.
right. What guarantee do you have for people to that they're gonna make more money in the future?
I'm 60 years old, disabled, and you got some the economic mobility. But look, let me point this out real clear. At Housing Authority, I don't know if people realize because we got a lot of this during COVID. You cannot have a business in your home, but you can have a Section 8 voucher and live in somebody else's home, long as your property manager is okay with you selling jewelry and such. But if you are staying in Heritage Park or any other type of public housing, you do not supposed to have your own business baking pies, selling cookies or whatever, and they know about it and make money. So what economical mobility you gonna have when it says you cannot work, right, Aisha? Can y'all work? Can you work when you stay in on the property out there in your house? Can you have a business in your house?
Not over here.
Uh-huh, that's what I thought.
Yep.
So there goes economic mobility. But
yeah. Okay, so I was thinking, Ms. Wanda, I want to have this on for another 15-20 minutes for anyone else who hasn't spoken. and would
Oh,
like to share
yes.
grievances, especially if you're a Heritage Park resident. Um, Aisha, do you have any things you want to bring up since you're here on what you experienced when you were a Heritage Park resident, the election stuff, and things that you're witnessing currently?
Yes, hello everyone.
Hi.
I'll start off by asking a question before I forget. So due to us having to move and be relocated to another place, I requested to move to an incentive home or apartment. But I want to know from Raleigh Housing Authority, if I move to this incentive home, even though the criteria changed now, will it still stay the same when recertification is due for that place? Will my rent go up? Will I not qualify? That's my concern as of now. Also, yeah, I'm not sure how things are proceeding with Raleigh Housing Authority in the whole election for a new president is going. I'm not sure how that even transpired after I had, protested that. Also, I want to since there is people up here from Raleigh Housing Authority, let y'all know that, with this new election, I know that y'all had a meeting, but not too many people showed up to that meeting to introduce the president and the security. But a lot of people don't know who the president is that lives over here as of now. Also, y'all security that y'all pay for, that's a waste of money. Speaking of not having enough funds, the security is no use for us over here, if that makes sense. It doesn't stop anything, even though they're here. I just feel like y'all wasting money on that note when it can be used for other things while we are still living in this apartment. Also, I know that it is protocol for y'all to have these meetings with the residents, but I feel like while I was in the chair of being the president, I asked several times, was this going to be a Section 18 application, or were y'all trying to change this community to red? And I never got a quite answer. At that time, it was always a no. And then now all of a sudden, y'all are filing the application at the end of this month. And I know that y'all are asking people to do early moval. And in the first meeting that y'all had, I asked, do y'all have any funds? Because from what I'm hearing, you got a lot of people that's trying to go for Section 8. And Section 8, we all know, like, y'all are not helping us find landlords. Y'all are still telling us to do it. That's stressful. That's one. For two, y'all have a resource lady down here that's supposed to be helping y'all with this process. And she's an elder. Like, she can't do but so much, and we need resources. We need, if you're going to give people Section 8 applications, y'all need to give people landlords as with, that goes with this process, not just tell the people to go out here on a 60-day to 90-day time period and go find a place. Some people can do it. Some people can't, especially people with kids and stuff like that. It's very hard to just do all of this stuff at one time, So the resource that y'all have is not that helpful because we're not getting the resources, if that makes sense. We're not getting names. We're not getting numbers. We're just getting the application so that we can be put first priority, So I kind of find that like quite odd, but it just has to be a better way of y'all helping the people that are getting Section 8 applications to help them find landlords that are seeking these applications. And I think that's pretty much it for right now. I'm just going to sit tight and see what else, transpires. But I would like an answer about if I move to an incentive apartment, would the criteria still qualify me maybe a year later when they're doing the recertifications at that place? Because I'm not sure how it works until I get there.
With all due respect to my elders, even me, I'm slow. I have to ask people carpets tunnel and the tunnel of the carpets and everything work bothers my fingers and things. But there are just some things when you hire people to do certain positions, you just have to, there are certain things that they have to know. And using a computer and being able to Google and just, I mean, at this point, you use AI. They should be able to know. May Miss Lottie rest in peace. She did not know how to do any of those things. By my understanding of the new person that's supposed to help people move forward and find these places, need help with Google Map and MapQuest and directions and all these other things, because you can't tell people go over yonder and look by the tree in the stream and find it. They need to be a little bit more. I'm not saying get rid of anybody. I'm just saying if you're gonna bring a person like that, maybe they're good with the seniors, because that's who my mama might need. But if you're gonna have someone else that's very fast on their feet and know how to move with these computers, you're going to have someone who knows how to do that too. So I'm just saying that is what we're seeing lacking here, and where the communication is breaking down with this process of the relocation. So I just wanted to say that in a very friendly way.
Yeah, I noted that in the chat you wrote, Ms. Wanda, that Raleigh Housing Authority said their lawyers reviewing a protest, but during the review of the protest, the process shouldn't have moved forward. I guess just bring that up to like again until that's sorted out. Nothing else should proceed.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yep.
If is it a valid situation where people who have already had their annual review, right, are certified as being in good standing, when they have to be relocated, do they have to submit a new application or go through a new evaluation process?
I think that was actually one of the questions that we had sent to Raleigh Housing Authority in the whole public comment.
Right, it
with
was
the relocation draft plan. So let me just bring that back.
And so as to that, you haven't gotten a response.
No, we did get a response. Hang on.
To those questions?
No, not at all. But let me just find out how exactly we phrased it. Why are residents who are in good standing and in compliance with the lease in all ways required to reapply for the new unit if it's mandatory for them to be relocated? So that was the question. And the response we got from Raleigh Housing Authority, and out of courtesy, I will not directly name names, but the response we got was, "We appreciate your email. Thank you for your time reviewing the plan and putting together the comments for our consideration. We have questions that we believe needs to be cleared up and addressed. It's not just thank you for your time, have a good day." I want to clarify that. I mean, am I wrong, Mr. McKinney?
I mean, what does that address?
It addressed nothing.
Absolutely.
I mean, just like, thank you for this email, but we have questions that needs to be answered, and that the people need the answer to those questions. And
like I said initially, I think that the level of accountability is lacking in terms of the housing authority's response to resident concerns and resident questions, as well as that to the stakeholders that have been required, or the stakeholders that have been in partnership with residents, right? At residents' request. So there's things that I'm seeing, and maybe I'm not familiar with how stuff works with the Raleigh Housing Authority, But from my vantage point, there's a lot of things that need clarifying. There's a lot of things that need to be adjusted in terms of these things' relation to the 964 regulations. And I think that one of the things I think needs to be clearly understood is the distinction when people say public housing. That is Section 9, right? Section 9 is public housing. Section 8 is a whole different dynamic. So when people generally say public housing and they're talking about all the different funding sources, that's not actually correct. It's Section 9. Now, is Heritage Park still Section 9? Is Heritage Park going from Section 9 to the voucher program where the vouchers are attached to the unit? What is the funding structure for Heritage Park?
That's Section 8.
It's not Section 9.
No, it's Section 8.
Or it's going from Section 9 to Section 8, but not through RAD?
No. It's Section. It has been Section 8. If I'm not wrong.
It was my understanding that they were formerly Section 9, and now they're being transferred to Section 8.
No,
because that is what Steve told us. But then we came back, someone, I think at a board meeting or something, cleared something up. So I don't know, it was confusing. But Steve did tell us that at one point. Not Steve. Right, what was the name? I get him mixed up. Not after Steve.
Who are you referring to?
The executive director after Steve. Oh man, I keep getting.
You mean Wayne?
Wayne, yes. Oh,
yeah.
Well, Steve, not Steve. Yeah, after Wayne Steve was Wayne. Yes, Wayne. Wayne told us it.
That is Section 9 or Section 8?
What Mr. McKinney is saying is what Wayne had told us in the beginning, but somewhere or another it got switched around. But I remember him saying that when we had a meeting with him. But it's just so all confusing, and it doesn't have to be. We for the community want this to move forward. We need more housing, and we need we have a homeless crisis. We want housing.
We need housing.
Yesterday, and that's what we're here for. We're not here for this going back and forth with the Quanta. We don't even deal with the Quanta like that. So don't know who sent her here, but the devil is a lie, and we are here to move forward. And whatever is best for those who are low income, we're here for 30% and below. We're not here for 80% and all of the other AMIs. Have that conversation with Wake Up Wake County or somebody else. We're not here for them. Somebody else has them. That's what we're here for. We will meet on that anytime, any place. Well, not anytime, any place, but I want to make clear and make sure for all this, calling somebody else, asking about what we need. Eric, you know, we've been in enough of meetings together. There should be enough of respect by now, and especially when it comes to needs for the accessible and such. So what's best for the community and where we're headed through more tough times that are coming, and that's all we're here for. We got too much to deal with instead of all this undermining. Who wants to undermine the low income? Not me. So we're getting ready to close out past our 8:30. Thank y'all for coming. This is our usual Thursday night meeting where we meet as a group, but so we decided to have it now. And we will continue to have meetings on this and other things pertinent to housing and this homeless crisis, because it is going to, until people start calling it what it is and dealing with it, it won't be dealt with.
Yeah. And we have enough of people from the city and other places and Chamber of Commerce telling us that, like, we just need to build more mixed income and market rate housing for enough stocking to drive the prices down. That never happens. The Reaganomic doesn't work. It hasn't worked back in the 80s. It's not going to work now.
And I think it's important to make the distinction between what Raleigh or the general public considers affordable housing and what is public housing. Those are two different entities. So if you're trying to talk about the 80% of AMI and all that, that's part of the affordable housing structure. The public housing structure is different. So, you know, it can't mix the two in conversation and say, well, what applies to affordable housing is actually public housing. No, it's a whole different scenario. So we have to be clear to keep that distinction. Also, we need to make sure that the Section 18 situation, being that the deadline for submission is upon us, that we get some kind of clarity and some kind of resolution to that before, what is it, June 30th?
Yeah, I mean,
which is 2 days.
Right, and
next week.
Right. So as far as I understand, as of today, the application is not done, and I don't know there's still any intention for there to be opportunity for review and comment from the people before sending it off. And today we got.
I would like to. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying that, and the application, the sample application indicates that it should go to the local jurisdiction as well. So, city.
I would like to recommend that the communication regarding this between the advocacy groups and the Raleigh Housing Authority be referred to HUD, so HUD may have to intervene, because we're not getting any response or credible information from Raleigh Housing Authority, and we can document that we have made the attempt to, and if we have not been able to receive it, then HUD is the next level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
it's the residents council, and right now, who is the residents council when, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's 8:40.
There is no at the moment. There is no valid resident council at Heritage Park. There is no valid resident council. As long as that protest has not been resolved, that there is no resident council that has the right to negotiate on behalf of residents with Raleigh Housing Authority.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And we said that from the beginning, and they try to go behind our back and do a little sneak election. But hey, you know, that's what they're used to doing.
Just like the fact that they never signed the bylaw or addressed the bylaw in any way for over 2 years, and suddenly they have a bylaw being signed.
Well, hey, when you know money, hey, that means you can't take money if you sign it.
Yep. Well, it's 8:48.
Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all.
Yep. We'll make
enjoy y'all you know, little hour or whatever they're doing right now.
Well,
whatever time it's at.
I'm getting ready to see what's going on with this debate thing.
Yeah, I'm getting my chitlin sandwich together.
All right.
All right.
I appreciate y'all. Have a good night.
All right. See you.